Few days, indeed, for much of the jump season, has been about one beautiful horse. Sprinter Sacre, owned by the Moulds, and Caroline Mould, the lady whose colours are carried by Sprinter Sacre, is on the telephone for us right now before she goes and sees her great horse later today. Good morning to you, Caroline.
Morning.
Great to speak to you. It's such an obvious cliche question, but when Sprinter Sacre runs, what kind of tingle do you get?
Well, God. I go numb, actually. I don't think I tingle anymore.
And do you, I mean, we've heard in the past people like Henrietta Knight struggle to even watch some of her horses.
Now. I mean, when he ran at Cheltenham, I forced, because when he did the Victor Chandler, I noticed I started looking away every time he jumped, and I thought, I'm not enjoying this if I do that. So when he ran at Cheltenham, I forced myself to watch, and I suppose I feel like everybody else, probably. But I do get very, very anxious now, more than totally excited, I suppose. And
a feeling then of numb but equally total joy, I imagine, that this is a beautiful horse.
Particularly when he starts to really take off, and then it's just amazing to watch a horse do that in such spectacular fashion, and very stylishly, I think.
And that's the thing about him, Caroline. He's not just a good racehorse, but he's got the looks to go with it.
And he knows it.
In what way?
Well, if you watch him when he goes around the paddock, before he loves attention. I think he's quite knowing about himself, and when he goes around the paddock, he really is watching people watch him. He rises to the occasion, basically.
So he is a sort of Keanu Reeves of the jumps world.
If that's what takes your fancy, yeah, absolutely.
not absolutely my fancy.
Yeah, absolutely your fancy, not mine.
but and so much talk in the last few days about what he might do next, Caroline, stepping up in trip, maybe going to Punchestown. Just say he steps up in trip. I mean, are you for that? What's your?
Well, the thing is, I think if he runs at Aintree, that's a pretty flat course, so that would be probably the equivalent of his 2 miles at Cheltenham. Punchestown, nothing's set in stone, to be fair. I'm going to see Nicky later, so I'll probably know a bit more. But I think we would all be interested to see, because I don't like to tempt fate, but we'd all be very interested to see what happens if he does run a bit further. I didn't know this, but I read it yesterday, but apparently, according to Breeder, they think he'd certainly be up for it, and I think everyone's waiting to see if he went when, and I suppose inevitably it's going to happen. He runs a bit further. But if Aintree, yes, I'm up for it, because I think that would be the equivalent of him running at Cheltenham, a 2-miler. But none of that, so far as I know at the moment, till I go and see Nicky later on, and David Minton, I don't think anything's absolutely set in stone, but it looks like that's the direction we're heading in.
And Caroline, some owners get very busybody about their horses and basically tell the trainer what to do. From what you're hinting there, it sounds very much to me like whatever Nicky and Minty say to you, you'll probably do what they tell you. Is that fair?
I think the person I would really initially take, and I think Nicky does too, is Barry, because Barry Garrett would be the one that really... Well, they've got all the... If I knew everything, I'd be training the horse myself. So, obviously, it's a joint decision. It would be very much... No, I'm not a busybody owner. I mean, I take a huge interest, obviously, but I wouldn't say he must run like my husband can do with some of his horses. But he has probably greater knowledge. But with Sprinter, obviously, I'd listen to Nicky and I'd listen to Barry. They'd be my... obviously, otherwise he wouldn't be with them.
Your other half, of course, has had many good horses.
Yes, but he doesn't own this one. He just gets the winnings, I get the glory.
He must be so jealous.
It's all a joint thing, but obviously it'd be Nicky, Barry and Dave Minton probably who are the first port of call.
And do you think that decision will be made today when you go and see him, or do you think it's something that you'll just spend a bit more time thinking about?
I'll have to tell you that after I've seen them. I think we only had the conversation a couple of days ago that there's potentially on the card. And actually, I'm probably talking out of term, I'd be happy for him to run at Aintree because I always worry about him travelling and that sort of thing. But equally, I've never been to Punchestown, so I'd be quite happy to do that. But I honestly don't know at the moment. I think it looks like we're heading towards Aintree.
Heading towards Edge.
But I honestly don't quote me on that because you're listening to me, but I honestly don't think it's set in stone as I talk to you at the moment, but it might all change a bit later.
Sure. And Caroline, just as the owner of the horse, obviously at the moment there is this feeling, a bit like Black Caviar in Australia, a bit like Frankel, that if you run over 2 miles, effectively you will win.
Yeah.
So provided an accident doesn't happen, which of course can happen in any jumps race,
Exactly.
you will win. But does that make you quite, as an owner, want to go over a bit further? In that, is there a sense of, it would quite nice just to have a little race on your hands at some stage?
No, there are all those ifs and buts. In a way, yes. I mean, if it's not broken, then he's great over too. But I mean, it can't. If he keeps winning, I mean, there's always yes, it would be nice to see what he does if he goes a bit further. From my point of view, my concern is just his welfare, that he enjoys what he does, because he does love jumping, and I suppose inevitably there's such sort of he's sort of a bit of public property suddenly, and you've sort of got, I have it, not everyone on my back, but everyone has their penny's worth, so I'm open to suggestion. I think it would be very, very interesting to see what happens over to Aintree if he does run that race, but then, you see, I don't suppose that's necessarily going to challenge him too much. I don't know.
Well, Flemenstar might think, the connections of Flemenstar might think differently. I mean, we've been putting up a picture of him, and it looks like he's just about to do some show jumping or something. The way he jumps is like that. The other thing is, with flat horses, we know that people, once they're on an unbeaten run, get very scared of getting beat. But you sound like someone who if he say he got beat over the extended trip at Aintree,
that's what happens.
It wouldn't worry you, would it, by the sounds of it?
No, because you have to be fairly realistic about the whole sport, because so far he's given, if he gets beaten from now on, he has given me the most enormous pleasure, and it's the privilege to own a horse like that. It's the privilege to watch all these horses run. I mean, they're spectacular. There's some beautiful horses around. So yes, if he got beaten, am I going to cry? No. But obviously, I'd like him always to win. But I'm realistic enough to know that's probably never going to continue. Well, maybe it does continue. Who knows what's around the corner? But yeah, I wouldn't go and beat Nicky up or Barry if he didn't win.
And Caroline, I know you want to shoot off to see the horse, so I won't give you much. Just one final question, though. We've seen with Sizing Europe in recent years, the Potts family were desperate, or still are desperate, to have a Gold Cup winner. Yeah. Obviously, in the old days, Barton Bank used to run in the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
If this horse won at Aintree, would you then even start thinking about...
I knew you'd ask me this.
Well, it's a horrible question, but, I'm a horrible person, and everyone tells you that.
No, I wouldn't even begin to think about it.
No.
No, if you want to, I wouldn't, and I don't want to put words into Nicky's mouth. I think that's a bit preemptive, I suppose.
It's hard to believe, and we know he's exceptional, but it's hard to believe that a horse is, like he is at 2 miles, could be that good at 3, isn't it? It is.
Yeah, you see, because he's always been on the bridle. He just sort of canters round and wins his race. So I suppose one could argue that he's not really being totally challenged, but then I don't know. I mean, I'm really getting me nervous now thinking about it.
In that case, time to leave you.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to go and see him, but nice to talk to you.
No, well, Caroline, look, we get a real sense of the dilemma, in a way, that you have, and the sense of love you have for the horse. And in many ways, it was lucky to get this horse out of the job lot that...
but I picked him.
Did you?
I picked him because he's so good looking. And I think my husband said, but they don't run on their looks. Well, he's the exception to the rule then, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Men often tell women that looks don't matter.
I know. I hear it all the time. Well, this one, I've got a looker here.
Caroline, a real pleasure to speak to you. If you go to Aintree, which sounds quite likely from what you've said...
Well, it's a huge possibility.
Yeah. We wish you well, and thanks for finding the horse and giving us so much pleasure with him.
Well, thank you. Thanks.